Many thanks for joining us on the show today. It is Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. And of course, it's a very good day to talk sports in as much as lots of Nigerian fans and supporters of the Super Eagles are downcast at the moment after that loss to Algeria. But it doesn't stop us from doing our bit, that is giving you the very best when it comes to the world of sports. I've got a guest with me, and he's not just a guest. He is a football legend. He played for the national team and also captained the team. And he's nicknamed the Mathematical. And he also guided Nigeria to its first Africa Cup of Nations title at the 1980 tournament in his homeland. His name is Segun Odegbami, the Mathematical one. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to have me.
Good to have you here on the show. And I mean, it's really nice talking to a football legend, and especially when it comes to moments like this, when a sad result comes for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Well, sad result, but it is not as if we deserved to have won yesterday. So we lost to superior opposition, and we have to be realistic. You know, in a case such as that, it would have been sadder if we had played better and we had lost
that game.
So, yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. And talking about that game, it's about the AFCON 2019 tournament going on in Egypt. And we saw two semi-final games that ended in an emotional manner. In the game between Nigeria and Algeria, Riyad Mahrez scored a stunning free kick with virtually the last kick of the game as his team went on to reach the Africa Cup of Nations final. And the match looked like it was heading for extra time before the Manchester City forward, Mahrez, performed his magic. And Algeria took the lead in the first half, courtesy of a William Troost-Ekong own goal, and the Odione Gallo's penalty leveled the scores following a VAR review for handling Peter Etebo's shot. And that was just the second goal Algeria have conceded in the tournament. Now, looking at that game between Nigeria and Algeria, yes, you said that it didn't look like Nigeria deserved to win that game. But so far in the tournament, it looked like that's how the Super Eagles have been playing along the way.
Well, yes, you know, at that level of the game, there's a lot that comes into it beyond just playing well, you know, passing well, moving well. There are other critical factors that come in. So some teams, even when they don't play well, they win. The Super Eagles are one of those teams that we really don't have to play well all the time to win. We could have won yesterday.
True.
Even though we wouldn't have deserved it, but we could have won. So that's how it is. Algeria were the most organized team in the championship. They looked the strongest up to that point. So when we met them, the only way we could have defeated them was to be tactically superior, to outplay them at what they play. Unfortunately, we were just banking on, you know, one slip, one error on their side. We didn't even create anything to score them, yet we were aided by VAR, and then we got the equalizer. I don't know, but that's football for you.
That's football.
So unpredictable.
Very true. Now, let's look at it from your own perspective as a former player for the Nigerian Super Eagles. You've captained the side as well. Do you think that we have a problem with captaincy? There was no one who was commanding the boys. There was no one pushing the boys forward, urging them on to get a victory. You're
absolutely right. In a game such as that, where you have difficulty, you know, you find one or two players who take responsibility. You saw it in the Algerian side when they were having problems winning that game. They got one chance, Mahrez rose up to the occasion, and he delivered. We used to have certain players like that, Kanu Nwankwo, JJ Okocha, you know, people who would take responsibility. But we didn't have that. We don't have that in the present Super Eagles squad. And that would be part of the responsibility of a captain. Unfortunately, we have a frontline player, Ahmed Musa, who is captain of the team, carrying the responsibility of captaincy as well as the responsibility to deliver. It was too much for him. When I was captain of the Eagles, it happened to me too. As soon as they made me captain, my goal scoring just
reduced,
just disappeared. You know, because you now had to carry the responsibility of that entire team. That's what we saw. I had been saying it for a while, that it is always better to have somebody in the central defense or in midfield as captain, rather than to have somebody you depend on to deliver, you know, the goods as a goal scorer as captain. That's my feeling. So you are absolutely right. That's partly what happened yesterday. Nobody to take responsibility and carry the team along and marshal them, whether you are defending or you are attacking, or you do something extra.
Exactly.
We didn't have that yesterday.
Now, still talking about the captaincy of the Super Eagles. Now, we've seen teams like Portugal in the Euro 2016, what Ronaldo did with his team, Portugal, even when he was out of the game with injury. On the sidelines, he was assisting the coach as people actually tagged him as a player coach and a captain of the team.
He was the 12th player.
Yeah, he led them all the way to victory. We've seen Lionel Messi do this for Barcelona. We've seen a couple of teams do this for their club sides and countries. Now we have a captain in the Super Eagles in the name of John Obi Mikel, who was on the bench. And
was
some
he the
have actually, well, he has been tagged as the major
captain. Is Ahmed Musa.
Well, looking at both of them, who is on the pitch, who actually plays on the pitch is the main captain. But looking at the balance of play, they say Mikel Obi is the main captain, while Ahmed Musa is the assistant captain. But then we know that on the football pitch, Ahmed Musa was the overall captain of that team. Now, John Obi Mikel was supposed to be the load of experience for the Super Eagles team, but he was on the bench. Do you think he was necessarily needed at that tournament? You
have just said it yourself. He was out of the team. He retired from the national team. He cannot be captain now again. So he came in after he had retired. The team now had a captain. Ahmed Musa was the captain of the team. So last minute, they brought in Mikel Obi. And they had a problem, which is history repeating itself. In 1981, against the same Algeria, Chukwu was captain. He had retired from the national team. And then I was captain. We had gone all the way to the last match against Algeria. And then they brought Chukwu back to come and be captain. And they made him captain of that game. And so we lost it. So it's history repeating itself. That's very elementary. We did so many elementary things that we shouldn't have done. Mikel Obi was not responsible for that team in any way, even as captain. You saw him sit there because he was a totally demoralized person, somebody who was brought to come and save the team, who could not even make the team himself. And you want him to go and be what captain? So we got it all wrong.
And of course, still talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, because that has to be a major concern. We all know that Tunisia and Tunisia and Nigeria will play in the third place, while Senegal and, of course, their opponent, talking about Algeria, will feature in the finals of that tournament. That will be on Friday, while the third place will be on Wednesday. So let's look at the Super Eagles now, starting off with the coach tactics. What is your sincere opinion on how the coach has performed so far before and during the tournament?
Well,
I know you have a lot to say about the coach. That's why I threw that to you.
He's not, obviously everybody knows, he's not about castigating anybody.
Yeah.
He is not good enough for us. You know, a coach who gave himself, you know, I don't know how to put it now. He said the assignment they gave him was to take the team to semi-finals in Africa. So he actually gave away victory before we even started, before we played against Algeria. He said he had achieved his mandate to get to the semi-finals. And we have seen it time over time. Against Argentina during the World Cup, we saw it. Against Madagascar, we saw it. The man is tactically deficient. And that's what we saw again yesterday. He did not know what to do with that team. A team that played the same way for 45 minutes, and they came back and they managed to equalize. And nothing happened afterwards. They could not even sustain that one goal. And we have in goal somebody who committed the gravest error in goalkeeping. You know, you go and stand, not behind the wall, where nobody could ever have hit that ball to go into. Where you were. And that's where they took that shot and it went in. Against an ordinary goalkeeper, it will never go in, because that's where everybody will want to go to. If you go above the wall, it's so difficult from close up to do that. So you don't go and stay behind that wall and leave that space open, which is what he did. So the coach, for me, I'm not a racist, but I think this our colonial vestige should stop here and now. That everything white is good and everything bad is not good enough. I think we need to start to look inwards at our own people. We have whole generation of generations of players who have played well, who have trained, we have to give them a chance. We have to involve them at the grassroots, involve them in the schools. These are former international players. They are all over the place.
True.
Bring them in, use coaches that have some experience, use our own, that will go there knowing the psychology of the Nigerian player who wants to go and die. Yesterday they went there and they were not willing to die. I didn't see the we are going to die attitude towards the end of that game. So that's the kind of thing we need. Gernot Rohr has served a good cause. He has served his time. His tenure will soon be over. I beg him, I beg Nigeria, let him go. Let us look for somebody else.
Wow. So you think the coach should leave and we should go back to the local coaches. Now, looking at the goalkeeping area, there's a particular picture we got from that game, an analysis from the goalkeeper actually arranged the wall of defense for the free kick, but he was practically standing in a position where he could not even see the football. Yes, this is the picture. He was standing behind and he couldn't even see the ball. Now, are you thoroughly blaming the goalkeeper, or should the defenders have done better knowing who Riyad Mahrez is, the kind of player he is?
The goalkeeper sets his wall. You see, that wall is a wall. A ball is not supposed to pass through it. A ball could go above it. When you are close to goal, to hit that ball above that wall, to go up and descend is the most difficult thing in football. That's why when there's a wall, the goalkeeper should not be behind the wall. The goalkeeper should be away from the wall. Where he hits that ball into is where the goalkeeper should be. So that you give him the difficulty of trying to hit that ball from close up above the wall. But he didn't do that. He stood behind the wall. Easy goal. Easy goal.
Now, we have three goalkeepers, or we had three goalkeepers in this tournament. Ikechukwu Ezenwa, there was also Rohr and Daniel Akpeyi. Out of these three, if you were the coach of this...
No, leave that. Leave me out of that.
Okay, out of these three, who would you have selected?
No, leave me out of that. I don't select players. I don't select players.
Okay, well, moving forward from that one, the team selection as well. We all talk about the coach and his tactics and all that. But looking forward to the game against Tunisia in the third place match, what are your expectations?
So why are you asking me that kind of question? What expectation? We have lost, we have
come
lost.
Back home with the bronze medal.
We are tired of bronze. Nobody remembers bronze. We have lost, we have lost. Let's go back and start to fix our football again from the grassroots. I'm not interested in third place. Really and truly, I'm not interested in third place. So forget it.
Now, looking at the grassroots now, because I've been to a couple of grassroots tournaments, and the major complaints that most of these grassroots players have is that they don't ever get a chance to be called up to even the Golden Eaglets, growing from there up to the national team of Nigeria. That's the senior national team, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. What do you think is the major cause of
this? The whole thing is not organized. When you say grassroots, what are you talking about? There has to be a system in place. The system we have to use is to use institutions. There are institutions that exist in Nigeria today. They have the personnel, they have the environment, they have the intellectual capacity to take our football and footballers from their cradle and to take them up to a certain level. That's what America is doing with their female football. You have to go through the collegiate system. That's what we did in our time. The primary schools, the secondary schools have to be the institutions for the development of our football and other sports generally, where you have a combination of sport and education. Within those institutions, you can go there physically and see them. You can measure their progress. You can do competitions amongst them. So talking of millions of people. So if you do that, you'll be able to identify the best amongst them and bring those together to form your elite team. From where they can now go into the national teams. But now you have mushroom academies all over the place. They are not organized. The schools are not producing anything. So how are they even coming about? Everybody's lying. They are cheating through their noses by bringing older players to go and represent us at the younger competitions. So what we get are really not the best that we can possibly get. The whole system is, I don't want to use that word, that F word. It's all a racket. Even our domestic football, see what it is producing. Is that domestic football? Is that how the league should be run? It is a racket. So we need to change, and this has to do with leadership. And you can, again, not isolate this from the rest of the polity. The country is in a mess. You cannot take football and say that one should be doing well. when the rest of the polity is rotten. But sports, particularly football, can be a candle in this darkness because it is sport, because we love it, our people are passionate about it, because it creates unity, because people can actually go beyond all those divisions, all those things that stand like hurdle in our way, tribalism, ethnicity, poverty, all of those things. Football is something that transcends all of them. If we only do that well, it can continue to show potential of a truly great nation that Nigeria could be.
Very true. And of course, we should be called the giants of Africa yet again. I remember back then when I was still in school, we talked about the West African University Games. There was also the Nigerian Polytechnic Games, the Nigerian University Games, and Nigerian Sports Festival. Even the secondary schools, the inter-house sports. But it looks like that culture seems to be dying day by day. And we're just hoping that someday we can revive this culture and, of course, get the very best of sports again. Now, let's talk about you. It's been a long time we've watched you play football. How have you been able to maintain...
Play football?
No, yeah, like I said, it's been a long time we saw you play football. Now, from back then when you won the title for the Nigerian national team, how have you been able to remain relevant in the sports scene?
Well, sports, football made me who I am, made me to be known, gave me a solid grounding as a Nigerian in this country, gave me opportunities that nothing else did. And if I'm not a foolish person, I would have to ride on the back of that, which gave me all of that to continue to succeed in my life. And of course, if I discuss engineering with people now, they won't take me seriously because I studied engineering, but I never practiced. The one thing I did not study that I practiced all of my life is sport. And so I have maintained my relationship with sport in different ways. I have been an administrator, I have been an athlete representative, I've managed track and field people, I manage a basketball team, the best in Nigeria today, I manage a football team, I run a sports school, I run a sports academy. I do everything in sports. I'm a sports consultant. I write sports, I present sports. All of that, I am using myself as an example for young people to start to see the possibilities and opportunities that exist in this huge, humongous industry. It is one of the biggest industries in the world is that of sports, is that of football in particular. But we haven't scratched the surface. There are 5 million viewing centers plus in Nigeria. 50 million people every weekend go to watch this AFCON we are talking about. 50 million. That's power you don't find anywhere that we are not harnessing. I am in that field. So when you say relevance, I'm just there. I'm living by it. So that's how it is. Now,
one of the major reasons why I asked that question is because we've seen a couple of ex-internationals who, when we hear their stories, it looks like they're not really doing so well. But you've been able to balance football and what you do with your personal life, and you still stand relevant in the industry. And
I'm relevant too. I'm not rich. I don't have money. But I'm relevant.
You're rich. You're blessed among many.
I'm not financially rich. So I keep myself in the system. I'm doing things in the system. I'm not in government. If I don't do those things, I would be poor. I would just die. Nobody would even remember. So I'm doing things that will become a legacy. In fact, my school is my legacy. Because in that school, so many things are happening. Unbelievable things.
Now let's talk about sports and education as we wrap up with the show. Loads of young talents out there think that they can actually abandon school and focus on whatever sport they choose to go for. They think that that's the way to being in the limelight. But I would love you to give an advice to the young ones out there who think that sports and education don't go hand in hand.
It would be a foolish person to think that education goes with everything, including sports. And if you have a passion for sport, it is always better to be grounded in education, to have your education as security, to have it to fertilize your mind so that even your sport, you will do better. So, and if we as a people, as government, now institutionalize sports development, and put them in our institutions. So we have achieved two things. We make football and sports and education the paradise that our children are looking for, because it provides them with incalculable opportunities. The sports world covers everything in life. It is art, it is science, it is medicine, it is law, it is finance, it is health, you just go on and on. All of it is in sport. And you can be an expert in it, you can be a professional in it, you can just, look, people don't know what they are missing by not combining, young people, by not combining education with sports. We should help them by making sure that within our educational institutions, we keep sports there.
Thank you very much. It was good having you on the show today. I would love to have you more and more often so that we can get to be educated and learn a lot from you, the mathematical one.
Thank you. You have a lovely studio here. Congratulations.
Thank you very much on that. And that's where we draw a wrap on today's show. And looking at other news, we know that in Formula One, it was Lewis Hamilton that got to win his record 6th British Grand Prix. And of course, in the world of tennis, Wimbledon, to be precise, Novak Djokovic defeated Federer in the finals of that one in a very, very long battle. We're talking about the world of tennis. So congratulations to Novak Djokovic. And of course, congratulations to Lewis Hamilton for winning that one. That's a wrap on today's show. I am Udoka Njoku. Hope you enjoyed the package. Do join us again for more interesting stories in the world of sports. Enjoy the rest of your day.